Welcome to Sales Velocity TV, where we pull back the curtain on how the top businesses in the world sell more with less resistance. Bringing over 50 plus years of combined sales experience and over 100 million in revenue generated, please welcome the hosts of Sales Velocity TV and two incredibly entertaining gentlemen, Andrew Cass and Aaron Parkinson.
Hey, welcome to a Mecca milestone, episode 100. Aaron is here in the books. It's happening. It's been essentially 2 years of Sales Velocity TV and radio. So congrats to you and to me, but thank you, most important, to our viewers who absolutely love this show. I think it's top 5 in the sales and marketing category worldwide or somewhere in that neighborhood at this point. So awesome to be here.
I feel like I should be doing like a dance or something, like a special 100 dance.
Where are my sound effects? Didn't I have those neat sound effects at one point? Where are my sound effects? I can't find them anymore. Remember those sound effects I had? But hey, this is awesome. Welcome everybody to episode 100. We'll get into the content of today in just a little bit, which is going to be a deep dive behind the scenes on a very sophisticated multimedia, multi-step sales process that we put in place for a company we just took over, which will be really instructional for all of you. But hey, episode 100 was a lot of work. You people ask us all the time, how do you stay consistent with a show like this? And I think it's probably important to point out that that's the key, is consistency and locking something like this in on the calendar and making it an appointment every week. And it just becomes a lot of fun. And boy, oh boy, I got to tell you, Aaron, no more important media today, in my view, than having your voice out there in your audience or in your niche on a regular weekly basis. It tends to be weekly with podcasts like this or TV shows. I don't think there's a more important form of media today than getting your voice out there. So important to be heard today.
Well, it was interesting when you said, hey, we're going to be doing 100 this week. My brain kind of glitched a little bit when I was thinking about it, because I was like, well, we've only been doing this for about a year. And the reality is that you do the math once a week. It's actually been 2 years. And you know, when people say, oh, it's so much work, it's this, it's that. I mean, once you get it set up, as long as you have it on your calendar and it's locked in, then 1 year turned into 2 years really quick.
Really quick.
And that's how you stand out from the crowd is your consistency and your follow through. And you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, having that consistent follow through, and I'll give people a tip. Obviously, we do this every Friday. I mostly schedule fun things on my Friday. So when I get to Friday and I wake up, I go, it's show day. It's this, it's that. Like, it's fun. It's right. Relaxed. It's loose. You know, I'm not doing it in the middle of a Tuesday where I got a million things going on.
And your energy's pulled in a lot of different directions, right? On that day or at that time.
Yeah. So I actually I get excited about Fridays because I know it's just fun. It's creative. You know, I'm going into my weekend, all those elements. And I think that's been a big piece of the equation that has helped serve us, is that we did it on Fridays.
I think you're absolutely right. By the way, that was your idea. I think you pushed for Friday. I was probably more of like making it part of the business week. And I think you're right. We just all tend to be by nature a little bit more relaxed and feel a little bit more liberated and happier on a Friday heading into a weekend. So yeah, it's fun. It's been fun for us. And I think it's been of great value. I think we have all 99 shows are now at salesvelocitytv.com. So you can see the TV version. Obviously, all the audio is there as well. Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple. Great reviews. It's all there. And we're talking today about a deep inside look at a multimedia sales process that we put in place for a company that we took over. But before we jump into that, Aaron, I have a funny video to share. A little bit of an entertainment factor right here. People ask us all the time, I mean, is sales about like being pushy and aggressive? And I don't like sales. I get this probably, twice, 3 times a week, Aaron, when I'm talking to clients, is I don't want to be the salesperson in my business, or I don't want to be the person that has to, yell and scream and get people to buy. So I'm going to play this quick little video from a long time old sales trainer. So I probably need to preface this in many different ways before I play it, because A, there's profanity. So viewer discretion advised. B, this guy did some serious time in jail for some business fraud that went on. I happen to know him kind of well. I worked with him in the mortgage banking industry. I trained under his sales training system, but fortunately I did not partake in the business practices that got him in trouble. So there's a difference. his business model got him in trouble. His sales approach and his sales training and his sales techniques have stood the test of time because they're really just about being organized, having a straight line persuasion plan where you don't get bounced in a million different directions. You stay on track, you stay efficient, you stay with the facts, you stay with the rebuttals, right? It was really a valuable training system for me to learn early on because the biggest problem I see in selling today, and I'm actually going through this right now with the sales guy that I'm training, Aaron. You know, I've been pulling my hair out for a week, right? You laugh at me, right? You're laughing because you see the frustration is they get so easily distracted and pulled off the script or pulled off the goal of the call or the goal of the Zoom session, right? And this guy was really big on teaching focus, straight line, organization, and not getting derailed on the call. And it's Jordan Belfort who wrote The Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio played him in The Wolf of Wall Street. So obviously it's a brand that took off and it's a guy that's really controversial. I'm not condoning any of this. I know we live in a snowflake culture right now where we have to preface everything. We don't sell this way. We don't condone this behavior. We don't condone the F-bombs that get dropped. So just take it for what it's worth. But it's a really funny video on basically how to sell your way out of your problems. And I think the message I want to get across here is as we get into tougher times economically, recession, inflation, probably here to stay for a little while. These things tend not to be short-lived. The only way to deal with this is to make more money and ultimately be a really good salesperson, AKA communicator, to be able to not have ceilings on your income, and for you to be able to produce your way out of tougher economic times. I've always been a big fan, you too, Aaron, it's how we met, is tough times create tough people, and tough times are easier to deal with if you understand how to sell and make money. So I'm gonna play this and then we'll talk about it and then we'll get into the content of the show today, okay? Here we go. Let's see here.
Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good, pick up the phone and start dialing. Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend think you're a fucking worthless loser? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich. All you have to do today is pick up that phone and speak the words that I have taught you. And I will make you richer than the most powerful CEO in the United States of fucking America. Are you...
I can't hear the audio on my side right now.
Buddy, did you hear the audio that just played?
I heard the beginning of the audio, and then somewhere through that, I got muted out, and I couldn't hear the audio on my side.
Really? Should I do it again?
I don't know. I mean, I'm worried that our listeners didn't get to hear it, but right after the first bit, I didn't get to hear anything. I couldn't hear
I wonder it. So tell me if you can hear it now. This is really funny. Tell me if you can hear it now because I might have muted it out, and I'll just play the beginning here. Tell me if you can hear this,
right,
and I'll stop.
Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good.
You can hear that now?
I can hear it, and I could hear it in the beginning, but then it got muted out somewhere.
All right, I'm going to do it one more time, guys. I'm going to do it. It's quick. It's 20, 30 seconds. I'm going to show it, and then we'll talk about it here in a second, and we'll dig in. Hold on.
All right.
Ready?
Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend think you're a fucking worthless loser? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
I think you get the point now. I hope you can hear it. I want you to deal with your problems by getting rich. Now, again, let's we don't condone the cursing and the F-bomb.
Oh, stop making apologies.
A little rough, I have to always set the stage for the new snowflake culture here in America where everybody's offended every time the wind blows and they'll find a reason to be mad and create a label or insult somebody or tell them that they offended their fifth born. Just got to put that out there. I know the viewers of this show probably are good with it, but it's really, it's a funny video. but it's instructive because how do you deal with problems? How do you deal with the economy? How do you deal with inflation? The things we just talked about. You do it by having better sales systems in place, better business practices in place. And you do it if you have the ability to sell, because there's usually no recession in your business if you can sell. People will experience recessions and inflation and downturns more when they can't sell during those downturns. So really everything we talk about always on the show is about selling more with less resistance. That was kind of like selling with resistance back in the day. So to preface all of that sales training back in the day, there was no internet, no video. It was really just a lot of heavy phone and a little bit of direct mail behind it. We're going to show you a system today that integrates all of it elegantly so that there is no resistance or friction or the need to yell and scream and train your salespeople that way. But I thought you'd get a kick out of that, Aaron. I don't know.
You know what? I love that scene. I love that movie because it's almost like a giant cartoon, right?
Yes,
it's so over the top.
Yeah.
I've met Jordan before as well. He is that guy. He is over the top. But the message, like you said, is clear because I see a lot of reports coming out right now. Las Vegas real estate, they got 50 realtors quitting a day. You got different industries being hit left and right. You know what? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. When you put in the right systems and you establish yourself as an authority, you're the one that's still left in that industry. And those people still make money. And the amazing thing that people, don't recognize is that the opportunities that are coming right now are significantly larger, in my opinion, than they were 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Because when markets crash or when we have recessions or all these, there's a whole bunch of opportunities to solve those problems or to take advantage of that situation. And if you are well prepared and you know how to create cash and your business is thriving, I'm not in a position right now where I'm worried about what's going on in the economy. I'm in the opposite side. I'm in opportunity overload right now because the people that we're interfacing with on a daily basis, they're problem solvers. And they're seeing this as a huge opportunity. So a lot of it, too, is about how you view it.
Well, listen, Aaron, great point. Another reason you're an opportunity overload or we're an opportunity overload right now is because you understand how to sell and you understand how to put selling systems in place that good, bad, up, down, sideways, inflation, no inflation, recession, slowdown, layoffs, it doesn't matter. Now, it matters to a degree. You'll feel it, of course, a little bit in certain areas with certain industries. But you can tap dance around it if you have the skills and you have what we teach over and over again in the show, which is how to basically be a professional, elegant communicator, aka salesperson, sales professional, whatever you want to call it today. But more so, it's about having systems in place behind that, right? You can't grunt your way these days, like in that video. You can't grind and yell your way to the top.
Well, you can, but it's just there's so much easier ways to do it.
Right, to a degree. But what we're going to show you today is how to put every single tool in the toolbox in place so that you have what I call shock and awe media, multimedia, and you're utilizing, you'll see direct mail, phone, email, text, video, all of it in one. This will probably be one of, maybe we saved the best for 100. This will be a perfect example of how to put a multimedia sales machine in place that removes you a little bit, right? If you're the salesperson, it gives you the leverage to not have to carry all the, not to have to do all the grunt work, I think is the best way to put it. I think salespeople wear a lot on their shoulders today. Business owners put a lot on their shoulders today. Systems will set you free. It's one of the reasons that we own a sales and marketing software CRM platform is because that technology and those systems give the salespeople the ability to have more quality conversations and not get bogged down in tech. So that's what we're going to talk about here today in this episode, and we're going to walk through it. So anything you want to add to the
all I'll say is that, look at this as an instruction manual today because we saw a company that had unbelievable fulfillment. So they were really, really good at what they did. Where they were challenged was in lead generation, operations, follow-up, sales, closing, all of those elements.
That's a lot.
And there's a lot of people who have amazing talent out there. They have a great product or they have a great service. Mm-hmm. And they could be doing so much better if they just put these processes that you're going to walk through into place. And hopefully that's you. And maybe you see one of these things, two of these things, all of these things is something you can implement and you go, wow, Imagine how good we could be doing if we put these in place.
Exactly. So what we're going to walk through today. So Aaron and I just took a 50% stake in a local marketing agency. By local, we mean they specialize in Google Maps. And for those of you that don't know what Google Maps is, when you go to Google in your respective area, your zip code, and you punch in, and we do this all the time, Italian restaurant in near me, it all comes up, it auto-populates near me, hair salon near me, CrossFit gym near me. And what it does is when you click that in your local area, this is a local, not national play, Google will index the top 3 best indexed companies at the top. You'll see 3. It used to be 5, I think. Now it's 3. So it is the most coveted real estate on the internet is to be in one of those 3 spots. It is not easy to get there. It is a true local SEO, search engine optimization play. It takes a lot of work to get it built from a content standpoint, from an indexing standpoint, all of the listings that have to happen for that business. You don't just arrive there. It's a long-term game, SEO, but it's much easier to do at the local level. And by the way, we'll include the links down below. You could go through the entire presentation, and you could even look at the service for you as a business owner if you want to. It is available to the general public. But how we built it for now, and we'll talk about cold versus warm, is we built the process now for existing customers that we have coming into our software platform, and they come in daily. Now, this can also be adapted cold. So we'll talk about both, Aaron. Let's not forget to, I don't want to take for granted that we're plugging this system into an existing customer base, but it's very simple to make it cold and go advertising and broad with it as well. And we'll talk about both. But let's talk about what we did first. So since we have a flow of business owner customers coming into our platform every single day, a good chunk of them have local brick and mortar businesses, and they would love to be listed on the first page of Google. It's an organic play. And in most cases, if you do this right over time, your phone essentially rings all day, every day. Think about lawyers, think about chiropractors, dentists, like their business is driven by phone calls. So how do you get phone calls? You show up right on the first page of Google. So what we did was we started with a little old school, and then we'll show you the new school. So if you read my book, Sales Velocity, the premise of that book was merging and marrying old school with new school. Very few do that today. They're either really new school where they never speak to anybody and they want email to do all the dirty work, or they're really old school like the video we just saw and they just yell at people all day, right? So what we want to show you is both. So here's what we did. We said, okay, we have, I don't know, let's call it 50 customers coming in per day into our software platform that are business owners. So we said, okay, why don't we send them a direct mail piece? People go, what the heck is that? Direct mail? You mean physical, good old fashioned in the mail? I'm going to go slow, Aaron, because a lot of what I'm going to talk about is going to surprise a lot of people. You mean that's really a form of media today? They still use direct mail? Let me just tell you that Google spends the majority of its advertising budget sending out postcards like this to business owners to get on Google AdWords. Let that sit for a minute. Google is acquiring customers to get onto Google AdWords by sending physical mail. I get them all the time. It's one of their biggest spends is physical mail to get someone to go online to advertise. It's like the irony of that, right? Wouldn't you use the media that you are on to get the people on the media that you're on? Well, they don't. I mean, they do sometimes, but for the most part, they use direct mail. So we created a jumbo postcard that looks like this. I think you guys can hopefully see this.
Yep.
Looks like this. Got me and you on it, right? Because it's our system, right? On the back talks about case studies, testimonials, what this is. We call this Google Maps domination, which again is getting a local business owner indexed on the first page of Google and then maintaining it and optimizing it over time. So direct mail piece goes out. This takes about a week to a week and a half to hit. So let's call it 10 days out now. That was step 1, by the way. 10 days out, we have a dedicated appointment setter, somebody who is calling old school, good old-fashioned telephone, not Zoom, not shooting an email, picking up the phone. Hey, Aaron, this is Andrew, calling to see if you received our postcard in the mail. It was an invitation to look at the Google Maps domination system and see if we can't get your phone ringing off the hook like we do for our other clients. Did you get it? And there's a whole script. Yes, I got it. No, I didn't. No problem. Okay, so that's step 2. And if you like what you saw here, would you like me to book you with an appointment, complimentary appointment, a discovery session with a Google Maps advisor, where you can talk through if this could be a fit for you, on and on and on. There's a script there, and it's really well done. Oftentimes, they're leaving voicemails, which is well scripted as well. So what's happened here in 2 steps? Got a direct mail piece, got a real phone call from a real person and isn't an auto dial. It's not a broadcast for me. It's a phone call made by someone. And people think, so they sent this in the mail and they called me. It used to be automatic. Today it's like seeing fire for the first time. Step 2, right? Let me keep going here. As soon as he gets off the call, let's call it a voicemail, oftentimes it is, he then clicks the mouse twice. There's no cutting and pasting emails into his Google account or his Yahoo account. We have a campaign set up in Pipeline Pro, by the way, our software platform, that sends out 3 emails automatically over 5 days. Just, hey, I just called you. Here's a link to the webinar talking about the Google Maps domination system, a full demo with case studies done by me, by the way. So they're selling me as the owner, and Andrew and the owner of the agency shot this video explaining the whole Google Maps domination. They get an email and a text right away, and then they get 2 more emails and 1 more text over about a 5-day window just saying, we called, we sent you this piece in the mail. By the way, this is a PDF in the email. So if they don't ever get it, it's a digital version sent in that first email. Email, text, goes out, follows it up. My sales guy is on to the next person. Because the system here, the tech in the second piece of the process, the tech is now communicating on his behalf with the prospect who didn't pick up the phone. Again, email, text, link to the digital version of the postcard. He just called, on to the next person. He's making somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 60 of those calls a day to people who are just starting to receive the postcard. Direct mail, phone call, email, text, automated, and those people drop into a pipeline so we can see who needs to be called, who was called, and who booked an appointment either with him or themselves on the link. Because there is a link, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It's gmapsdomination.net. It isn't just a link that says book on my calendar. That's a big mistake, by the way. This is the key ending piece here. It's a link to a webinar that was about 40 minutes that we did that explains the entire Google Maps domination in detail so that before they book, they have full information on what's going on, how it works, and who it's for and who it isn't, so that we can make sure we're not just putting people randomly on calendars. We're thoughtfully putting people on calendars based on, did they qualify themselves? Do they have a brick and mortar business? Is this a fit for them? Does it make sense? Do they even like what they hear? So what's happened here, Aaron? Direct mail, phone, email, text, video, calendar booking, all happening simultaneously like a spider web effect. There is no stone left unturned in this process. It's a shock and awe approach. We've used every form of media imaginable except showing up at their doorstep and spoon feeding them breakfast. We've given them every form of media that we can, and you got to play the game this way when times are tougher, because you have to learn how to do more with less. And if you take this approach right here to every customer coming in, where we've used 4 or 5 different forms of media, including phone follow-up and email follow-up and text follow-up, you pretty much maximize the daylights out of every single lead that comes in that we acquire. Now, this again is a warm play. We are doing this marketing campaign to existing customers because it's a fit, right? We have business owner customers activating our software. They naturally need local leads. It's a congruent fit, and we'll talk in a second about how we will do this cold. It's warm now, but Aaron, if you want to jump in, I'm out of breath.
Yeah, we're actually also going to be launching retargeting in Facebook and Instagram to these people as well, saying, did you see this postcard?
Good point.
And so we're hitting them in different multimedia locations. And you might be thinking to yourself, man, that's a whole lot just to generate an appointment. Well, in this time frame right now, think about how many times you get distracted from something. I mean, if you look at the average person's phone or their computer, they've got notifications coming from text, brutal. From social, from Slack, from Skype, from WhatsApp, from Discord. I mean, it's just ding, 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 ding all day long. If you think that one email is going to somehow make the difference,
you're delusional.
It's going to make more of a difference than doing nothing at all. But certainly when you think about the perspective of how you are perceived in the marketplace, if you're getting a direct mail, you're getting a phone call, you're getting an email, you're getting a text, you're getting an online PDF, you're seeing it inside of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all these. How does that make you look in the eyes of the consumer who's deciding whether or not to go with you as their option. It makes you look 100 times bigger than you probably are.
100%.
And when you look bigger, what does that do for your credibility? When your credibility is established, how much friction does that reduce in the sales process?
Mm-hmm.
You got to think to yourself, how do I not outwork necessarily? Because
it's a little bit of outwork, man. For sure it is.
It's outwork to set it up, but it's almost outplay everybody else.
Yep.
How do you play at that different level than everyone else is playing to make yourself stand out?
You are playing a different game in this example. I think you put it right. You are outworking and outperforming everybody in your space. I would bet that 99.5% accuracy, your competitors would not be operating this way. So I say embrace sophistication. This is a sophisticated process. Embrace it. Most people, it overwhelms the hell out of them. They're like a deer in headlights and they get pissed off. No. Look at this the other way. Embrace sophistication because your competitors won't, and you will shine above them and be more visible. We talk about visibility all the time on Sales Velocity TV. You got to fight tooth and nail to be visible today in all forms of media. And we just basically showed you 5. I'm so glad you brought up the piece I forgot because that's your area. Is what Aaron meant by retargeting is everybody that goes to the link that's down below, by the way, gmapsdomination.net, you can see the whole thing. Everybody that hits that link, today on the internet that retargeting, you take it for granted, Aaron. I want to make sure people know what it means. It means as soon as you hit that link, you're cookied.
Right.
And we follow you around the internet with little ads that say, hey, I noticed that you just checked out the Google Maps domination webinar, but I noticed you didn't book an appointment yet. Just wanted to drop in here and say hello or whatever. Obviously, it's going to be better copy than that. But that is the 5th pillar right there, in which you can follow them around. We see this all the time. If you're interested in something online, the ads start to follow you around. It's perfectly legal, by the way. I think some people hate it because they feel like they're, it's a little creepy. But it's just the way the internet is wired today. It's you get when you hit a website, you're essentially cookied, and you can be followed around with ads from any company that's smart enough to follow you around with ads.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Google, AdRoll.
Yep.
And literally you are everywhere. So they're off of their phone, and they're getting hit with phone, SMS, direct mail. They go onto their phone or their computer, and every single channel they go on, they see the same thing. You look enormous.
You look enormous, but here's what's going on subconsciously. I always like to look beneath the surface unconsciously, subconsciously, as they go, man, if they're this organized with their marketing, how organized and thorough will they be with delivering the product or service that they're promoting? That's how I look at things. I look at first impression, right? So I look at the impression that's being made. So if I was a business owner and I'm seeing all this, I would go, if they're this good trying to get me to learn more about this, I can't imagine how good they must be on delivering and fulfilling the service, which is why, in this case, this organization that we came in and took over has been doing this for 12 years. There are very few people, Aaron, that have been pulling off anything SEO related because Google changes the game a lot. The internet's evolving, search is evolving, and there's constant changes. And if you don't have the stomach or the capacity to keep up with it. Oof.
You got to have thick skin to play that game.
Things change. You need to change with it. I mean, it's a high stakes game, but 12 years, almost a decade and a half doing this type of local Google Map searching, and they've changed the name a bunch of times. It's Google My Business or it's Google indexing, whatever. You got to know what you're doing. It's one of the reasons we went in and said it's worth our time because they're not fly by night. They haven't been doing this for 2 years. Because you obviously have to be able to deliver now. So that's number 1. That's what we do warm. Let's talk about if we said, hey, let's go cold with this now, Aaron. Let's take this thing to the market. Let's go run ads. We are experts. That's your area, not mine, but we are ninja level experts when it comes to Facebook and Instagram ads. That's credit to you and your team. What we would do is we would take, so the link you see below, Google Maps, gmapsdomination.net, take that link. What we would do is we would put a lead capture mechanism in front of that, okay? And we might say, hey, here's the one thing you need to do to get a first page Google listing in under 90 days guaranteed, let's say.
Well, and I'll stop you right there because I've already run this campaign because I've been doing this a long, long time. We've run this campaign where we actually have a scan tool that shows the prospect.
Ah, yes.
where they're showing up online, and if they're not showing up, why they're not showing up, because they're not listed in all these directories.
Mm-hmm.
So we've run campaigns that just say,
Get a free business scan, right?
Can your customers find you on Google? Use our free business scan tool to find out. They go in, they do the scan, they see they're not showing up, they find out why, and then it basically says, if you'd like to learn how to fix this, watch this free presentation. They watch the presentation, then they get booked, and then that whole follow-up process that you talked about starts again.
That's right. Exactly right. So good point is we would put what's called lead capture on front of the page you see below. It's wide open right now to our viewers, and it's wide open to obviously our customers. And technically, we could even argue that we could run the page wide open. We've had a lot of success running traffic to wide open pages that don't require an opt-in. Some people won't opt into anything these days. So let's just say we took the page that you see below and we ran traffic to it. We could do it because, again, because of retargeting, which we mentioned earlier, it's worth it because it isn't a buy or die one and done view. As soon as you hit that page because you like what you heard, we can follow you around the internet. So it's almost like you have sort of built-in follow-up with retargeting, but obviously getting the email and a phone number and a name is really beneficial as well because you're building a database on the heels of a business scan on the front. So we could do it one of two ways. And in fact, for us, that's phase 2. This is a new process that we wanted to share with you that we just built literally in the month that you're watching this. And we always start warm to proof concept, which is what we've done. But going cold is pillar 2, phase 2. And that's where we go next. Maybe we'll come back and share, Aaron, what the cold approach might look like when we go cold to a cold audience later on down the road. But it can be done both ways. And you're right. The follow-up behind the scenes stay the same. Direct mail piece, phone call, email, text, digital version of postcard, book with advisor. We're not even getting into on this podcast today the actual sales part, but in a nutshell, when they meet with an advisor, what we call a Google Maps advisor, when they book that session, which is obviously the outcome you're looking for, they will run a business scan for that prospect. And 99% of the time, you'll notice that you're not indexed properly for Google. Your online listings are a mess. There's broken links. So what happens is when you realize how messy you look, you're losing a lot of deal flow and a lot of lead gen at the local level. And we have a proprietary piece of software that will show you this. Once in a while, somebody will be perfectly indexed and they're not a candidate. They've got it figured out. But what is that number today? I mean, this is a high stakes game. That's like 1% of the people we come across. So we're in a 99% bracket here of being able to help 99% of business owners that have a local brick and mortar business, by the way, to be able to get a really stealth Google Maps presence in place. And this isn't an overnight thing. It's a long-term thing, right? We have this 60-day roadmap that we call where we build it out. It's sort of like building the foundation of a house. Once that foundation is secure, then the walls and the windows and the roofs can go up and it's a lot easier from there. But that's basically the way it works. You can look at the whole model down below. You'll notice in this webinar presentation that there are case studies in which this process has gotten a lawyer in New York, as an example, something like 350 phone calls in 120 days just because of where they're positioned on Google. Can you imagine? I mean, that's life-changing.
Do you know what a lawyer is willing to pay for a phone call?
Hundreds of dollars, man. Hundreds.
I mean, we do lead gen for lawyers, and they pay through the nose because obviously think about what their retainer looks like. If they can get that phone call booked, I mean, it's gold.
And the competition, I would say pound for pound, you tell me if I'm wrong. I have a couple lawyer private clients that I've worked with over the years. That might be the most competitive advertising of any industry in America is legal.
I think it is right now. I mean,
I think legal in like legal in clinics and practices and.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I drive through when I come over to Florida to see you or go on vacation over there. Pretty much every single billboard or every third billboard I see right now is an ad for legal services.
It's crazy. And you're right. For a pay-per-click ad, as an example, just
$100 a click.
Personal injury lawyer, wherever you live, I've seen 300, 400, 500 a click.
Yep.
And some of them can convert that. That's a paid play. What we're talking about here today is a truly organic, long-term SEO play. So, different conversation for a different day. But this is the system that we built. These are the types of systems I build quite frequently. For those that are inside of our Pipeline Pro community, we actually give this Google Maps domination service as part of a huge, what we call custom conversion system offering that we do only for Pipeline Pro members, where we build a funnel and we build out the CRM and we deploy Google Maps domination. We even do video production. It's part of a much bigger done for you, essentially 90-day roadmap that we build where we include this. But again, details down below on how you can look at this, A, to see what we're talking about, B, to see if it's a fit for you and your business.
Yeah, and obviously, great. If it's a fit for your business, we love serving our clients, but use it as a tool to understand what you could put in place for whatever you're offering. Look at all the different elements of follow-up and so on and so forth. It's a great example to go through yourself to see the opportunities in your own business.
Exactly. So let's pivot here. I think I covered everything. You got the system here. We'll come back and report on this down the road. But let's talk about what the road to 200 looks like, Aaron, before we wrap it up here today. So episode 100 is here. It was obviously a lot of fun and a lot of work getting here. You'll laugh if you look at the video and audio quality from the beginning. And by the way, we come from huge speaking and video backgrounds, but we're not video guys. So, when you're not on stage like we're used to, and you don't have production teams standing all around you making things great, you got to have a good setup. And you'll see that it's been a transition, audio, video. Things have gotten better and evolved over time. But on the road to 200, what you're going to see more of, or what you're going to see actually for the first time, we've not done this. We've always been a two-man show. We don't do guests, but we want to do guests periodically. We just really don't want to just turn it into... I wanted to do something different. Every podcast is all about just guest. We looked at it like, remember that show on ESPN, Mike and Mike in the Morning? I don't think it's on anymore, but it was a really popular
it's not, but you know what? I do love the one with Shannon Sharp and what's his name? The other guy. Undisputed.
What's his name?
The show's called Undisputed.
Yeah.
And it's Chip or Kip.
Chip Byler or something, or Chip.
But Shannon Sharp is the other guy in it. And they just go at it all day long against each other. I love that show.
Yeah. So we took the approach of just leveraging our 50 plus years of experience, talking about what we see, talking about public events sometimes, talking about sports sometimes, talking about politics at times, but really mostly talking about sales, marketing, and business growth and entrepreneurship. And it's been just us. But what you'll see in the second 200 here is really high-level people, celebrity guests, big business success stories. There's a couple people we have in mind right now that have built phenomenal brands where we'll go in and we'll dissect, how'd you get from point A to point B and whatnot. So that'll be a big piece of what we do on the next round. And other than that, we welcome feedback, comments, questions, ideas. We get them quite a bit. All of our shows are at salesvelocitytv.com. We're live every Friday in the Facebook group at 11 a.m. Eastern, which just gives us an opportunity to get the video version of the show, which gives us an opportunity to be on YouTube. Not required if you're going to podcast and go on your road to 100, but certainly gives it a nice element to have a video and an audio version of the show. This is all going to be stripped out by our team later today. They'll pull the audio out. They'll separate the video. They'll do the edits. So, there's so much media today, as I said in the beginning, to close out as a business owner, entrepreneur, or a sales professional, to have your voice out there on the internet, in your niche. You couldn't be skipping a bigger opportunity today than being heard where it matters most with all the technology that we have today. This is probably one of your best sales pieces, or one of your best sales systems, is having your voice out there, being heard, sometimes being a little bit bold, being a little bit controversial, not playing it safe. Like, go be you, go be heard, go shake things up, and do it with a podcast.
Well, and one of the things that just gets overlooked is people worry so much about, well, who's listening, who's watching, how many subscribers do I have? The fact that I just have the link to this show in my email, when people email back and forth with me and they're asking me questions and it says, learn more about me, and it says link to show, some of these people will watch 4 or 5 episodes and they'll come back and talk to me and go, man, I watched all your show and you guys are amazing. You cover so many things. Like, it sounds to me like exactly the fit I was looking for. Great. My link in my email alone pre-sold the appointment.
I had a guy tell me the other day, Aaron, I just binged watched all of your Sales Velocity TV shows. I said, like Netflix style? Yes. All 99? Yes. Now, it took him time.
Wow.
But I've had that quite a bit. I don't, we're not going to sit here and brag, but we have people who say I've binge watched Sales Velocity TV. So that's great to hear. And again, big thank you to you, the viewers, for getting us to 100. It isn't easy to get to 100. Most people don't stay with anything, but staying with anything is everything in life, because consistency will always win out over perfection. And at the very least, start your own show. Utilize the techniques we talked about here in episode 100, and we will commit to you to a bigger, better, even higher quality next 100 on the road to 200. It'll be fun. I love doing it. Aaron, any final words from you before we wrap up 100?
Now, on to 200, which is going to be the title of our episode next week, The Road to 200.
The Road to 200 will be the next episode next week. We don't know what that topic will be yet, but stay tuned. Again, all past episodes are at salesvelocitytv.com. I'm Andrew. That's Aaron. Thank you all for the viewership. We will continue to deliver you the goods in the episodes to come. Have a great one.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Sales Velocity TV is powered by Pipeline Pro, the ultimate all-in-one sales pipeline management and marketing automation platform that makes all others obsolete. And we can prove it. Take a tour at gopipelinePro.com. See you on the next episode.